Hello, welcome to another episode of Bunny Hugs and Mental Health. I'm your host, Todd Rennebaum. Yes, I like the same shirt and hat. I wear them often. So anyway, if you notice I'm wearing these intros, it's because I like them. Hey, this episode is with Michelle Hammer, and she has schizophrenia. It was originally aired in August of 2022 on the audio podcast, which you can check out. And we talk about how she got diagnosed, what age she got diagnosed, her symptoms, and her social media and the advocacy stuff she's been doing, because she's been doing lots for schizophrenia awareness and stuff. So, yeah, without further ado, I give you Michelle.
Right. From the beginning. Okay. So when I think back, I can remember my first symptoms of schizophrenia really being called out was when I was at soccer practice. I had this like really mean kind of just drill sergeant coach who would just kind of like call me out on things like, pay attention, who are you talking to? And he would like laugh at me, or he'd be like, Michelle's just talking to her imaginary friends over there. She's not even paying attention anymore. So like, that was the first time like I really look back is that, anyone ever called me out for talking to myself. I
How old
also
were you?
remember like being in physics class and I'm cracking up at nothing. And a girl turns around and goes, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "What?" She goes, like, "What are you laughing at?" And I'm like, "Oh, I have no idea." And I also remember being in like, math class and a girl said to me, like, "Who are you always talking to?" And I'm like, "What?" She goes, "You're always talking to somebody. Are you on the phone? Are you just talking to nobody? Like, who are you always talking to?" I'm like, that kind of stuck out. And then I always had this, like, one of my best friends was always talking about that time. Remember when we were in the pizza place and you turned to the wall and you smiled and laughed at it like somebody was there? And I was like, what? She goes, "It was so funny." So I had all these like things that I think back to now that were totally symptoms of schizophrenia that I didn't realize I had at the time. So I also like struggled and fought with my mom and stuff like that. She tried to bring me to get help, but I was always, had that paranoia where I just didn't trust any kind of therapist at all. So I didn't speak. I was just stone faced them the whole time. But when I got to college, because the whole thing was that I thought like my mom was out to get me and all these things. And I thought she was doing things purposely to hurt me. I just had all these just weird paranoid thoughts about her. So I go to college. I think I'm free of the whole thing. She's gone. I'm cool. Things cool for a long time. Well, a few months or maybe a month at least. And then I start thinking all those same paranoid thoughts about my roommate that I thought about my mom. And then I was like, wait a minute. Why would my roommate be doing all those things? Why am I thinking these same things about my roommate that I thought about my mom? And then it just, clicked in my head. Oh, there is something wrong with me. It was really me the whole time. And that's when I was like, okay, let me go to the health center, figure some stuff out. And they told me within 15 minutes that I was bipolar, and here's a pamphlet. And then go see the school psychiatrist. Yeah, that didn't work so well. Ended up in the psych ward twice my freshman year for like suicide attempts, and once my sophomore year for suicidal tendencies. So then I decided I needed like a real therapist and like try to get some real stuff. So in college I was pretty much diagnosed bipolar or depression, and I was on like one medication. You got to take it 3 times a day, and if you missed it you just got angry and you went nuts. So that was that. And then after college I was trying to like be more honest and open with a doctor, and I described myself as and I got diagnosed with schizophrenia, which I thought I was like, oh my God, I'm so devastated. I have schizophrenia. No one's going to love me. Like, everyone's going to hate me. So I went out to dinner with like the same people I lived with for college for like 4 years. And I was like, dude, guys, all right, got something to tell you. I found that I have schizophrenia. And they were all like, isn't that what you had the whole time? Like that could not have been more obvious. Like we would catch you talking to yourself all the time. Like we pretty much said that to you, like duh. So I was like, if my best friends already knew and like didn't care, why do I care about any negative reaction I have with people that I don't even really know or like? So I was like, whatever, you know.
Right. Yeah. Well, I don't, this has nothing to do with it, but what did you take in college?
Oh, I was a graphic design major, and I had a
Hmm.
minor in business communications, and I got my business classes. Somehow I got really good grades in them because my teacher messed up. He gave me an A one time. He gave me an A. The thing is, I told him, they had the grades online and everything. And I'm checking my grade for the class of this business class. And it said I had 110. And I'm like, that's not right. I'm going through all of it. And my participation grade said 700. I was like, that's probably supposed to be 70. And I go before the final. I'm honest with the guy. And I said, hey, I checked the grade online and it says my participation grade is like 700%. And he makes a note. But then I got my report card and it said A. And I was like, he never changed it. But you know what? What am I supposed to do now? Because it would have been an F. So, I told him I did the right thing. I just didn't tell him afterwards because I was honest. I tried to be honest as possible, but was like, okay, fine, whatever, dude. Yeah.
So you're terrible at business.
Well, it wasn't really my, all we would do is he would just play the slides from the textbook. And I would just bring my computer and go on my computer, like whatever. It was boring. Whatever. And now I run a business, but I did terrible in my business classes somehow.
All you did was watch The Apprentice.
License. I have a coaching license in women's lacrosse, and I was the TA of women's lacrosse, which was all of my teammates were in the class, and then I sat there as the TA. That's what I did, and I answered the questions that nobody else knew the questions of. I would just answer questions, and there was just one random girl that was in the class, and then if they did group work, I always had to work with this one random girl that didn't know anything. So that's what I did.
So that was your college.
That was my college. I wore a lot of sweatpants. I wore a lot of sweatshirts. It was freezing in upstate New York. Yeah.
Did you party, drink, drugs?
Of course.
Oh, okay.
No drugs. I'm not into drugs.
Okay.
It's not my thing. I saw many drugs. I was offered many drugs. Well, to buy.
Right.
Not for free. No. No. I could have done an abundance of drugs, but that's really not my thing. Because when you already hallucinate, you don't want to hallucinate more. Yeah,
I suppose. Yeah. Not even weed?
Not in college. I was an athlete, I need to breathe.
Oh, right. That makes sense. Were you good at lacrosse? It's a Canadian sport,
I do know it's a Canadian sport, and people never believe me. When I say it's the national sport of Canada, they go, no, it's hockey. And I'm like, no, it's not.
Nope.
It's lacrosse.
I'm from Canada. I don't know if you knew that.
Well, I know now.
Right.
Because you knew that. Because no Americans believe me when I tell them that.
Yeah. It's the indigenous people.
Yes, it's the indigenous people sport. And they would do it, no boundaries, and they would like kill each other.
Neat.
They would beat the crap out of each other with their wooden sticks. They would beat the living bejesus out of each other. But we don't do that. Well, I would always say, if the ref can't see it, it's not a foul.
Right. So you're just sneaky about it.
The ref can't see it, it's not a foul.
I watch a lot of football, and I wonder why there isn't more pinching. Because that'd be hard to see.
Somebody told me that when they're in like the big smush on the ground, when they're all fighting for it, that they're all pinching each other.
Oh, they are? Okay.
That's what I was told.
Or tickling.
I don't know. Anyway. I think football is so stupid. It's like, yeah, you're big manly men, but you're wearing tight pants and you're wearing large pads. Like, really?
Mm-hmm.
You're so strong, but you have to wear big ass pads. Yeah, okay. You know how many hits I took? Please. People smashed into me.
Yeah. And you get paid for one position, whereas lacrosse, you're all over the field.
Pretty much. Well, I was the lowest defender, and I beat so many 2v1s. I would destroy a 2v1, which is me and the goalie and two of the other girls.
Right.
She's running down the field. And now I'm like, a 2v1 again. Really, guys? Why'd you put me in this position? Really? And now I got to break this again. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot. Leaving me in a 2v1. Thanks so much.
I don't know what 2v1 means. Oh, two versus one.
One defender and two attackers.
Okay, that makes sense. I figured it out.
Yeah, so I would have to break a 2v1. And I'd be like, really? Why? Why are you doing this to me again? But I would break 2v1s all day, all day.
Huh. You think your mental illness helped with that, or had nothing to do with it?
Well, I would always make sure I had it. The thing is, my coach would be like, I can tell if you've taken your meds within like 1 minute of talking to you. Do
Really?
not come to practice or anywhere near me if you haven't taken your meds. Which people were like, coach is making you take your meds. But I'm like, that's a good thing. So, like, I don't know what the
Yeah.
complaint is.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Someone's looking out for me. How dare they?
I know. I know. I know. What's the bad there? What's the bad? She's making you take your meds. I'm like, she's making me be stable. Like, shut up.
Yeah. She wants me to do well.
Well, I know, right? Like, yeah.
So what is life after sports? Or do you still play?
Well, I was playing in this post-collegiate team in New York City, and then I was also playing on a flag football team. And I was running after the person with the football, and some dumb idiot comes and cuts me off,
Mm,
and I strained my MCL. So I was in this big air leg cast thing, and I
mm,
could barely walk, and I had crutches, so I had to stop playing for a while. And then I was just like, I'm done. I'm done
mm.
playing. I'm just
Yeah.
like, I'm lazy now. I just stopped, and I was like, the game of girls lacrosse got a lot different. Like the rules changed, and now there's younger people, and I'm like now old.
You're not as fast.
I'm not like good at, I was good, but now I'm not good.
Right. So
I used to be good. I mean, maybe I could still break a 2v1. I don't know, but I'm not sure I want to try.
you just would never do it again. You could do it once. And so you, what is your life like after college, after sports, being having schizophrenia?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
are you?
Well, okay. So like for 5 years, I worked in corporate New York City design. Like, and if you
Mm,
work in New York City, like you are so replaceable so easily. So I had like 15 jobs in 5 years. I was fired from every single one of them. But doing that, I was able to build my own business because I had so much experience in a bazillion different fields. Like I worked in like wine and spirits, like web design. I worked in sports, like for the New York City Marathon. Like I worked at that company. I
mm,
worked in like radio station, kind of like hip hop radio station stuff, where I had to make like really like urban stuff. Like it was interesting what I had to make, a lot of Jay-Z and like and it was interesting. I'll just say
mm.
that. And I had to work in law for a while. Like I'm telling you, I was well rounded. So when I had to like build my whole thing, like I knew how to do so many different things because I had so much like experience with so many different kinds of just design. So people
Genres.
are like,
Yeah.
how'd you build that where did that website come from? How did you do that? And I'm like, oh, I knew how to do it. I just knew how to do it. They're like, but
Mm,
you knew? I'm like, yeah. So how did you? I'm like, no, I knew how to do it myself. I built my whole website myself.
mm.
And people are like, oh, really? Wow. How do you know? So like that was the good thing that came from the bad thing. But like, so yeah, I just couldn't work in corporate New York City, like 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Like that's so much, especially for someone who's schizophrenic and you just like need breaks. Plus, one time I was working somewhere and then I got brought into HR, and like HR knew that I had schizophrenia because I had missed the deadline for health insurance. But then I was like, wait, I have a severe mental illness. I have severe chronic illness. I need health insurance. And I brought a letter from my doctor. So HR knew, because that's fine. But I had a bunch of issues with some stuff. So my boss was saying, you said you weren't on the phone, but you were talking like you were on the phone. And I looked at HR and she was just like, Brayden, you're gonna have to just dismiss that. He's like, but you said you were on the phone, but you looked like you were on the phone. So it's
Mm,
kind of like,
mhm.
what do you do in that situation?
So usually HR would know you're schizophrenic, but your
But that was
employer
that was
wouldn't.
the only that was the only HR that knew. That was the only
Oh,
time I ever had any like issue.
mm. So you weren't like upfront every time you get a new job, be like, hey, by the way, I'm
I
schizophrenic.
No, because not
Yeah.
everywhere I worked actually even had an HR.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you think any of your jobs, like other than that one, do you think some of your other jobs you were dismissed because of your mental illness?
It could be. It could, because there's also sometimes symptoms. Sometimes you just get confused, things like that. And also just working all day for someone with schizophrenia is really, really hard.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it's just not the easiest thing. It's just like you need a break, you need a nap, you need to relax. Just that 1 hour for lunch doesn't just do it. And I'm not saying you can't work if you have schizophrenia. I'm just
Hmm.
saying it makes it more difficult.
Hmm.
So it just didn't work for me. That's why I decided to do my own thing and come up with my own brand, Schizophrenic MIC. Therefore, I could just do my thing and run my business and get all the just like the joy from running my own business. Because also when you're working for other people, you do all the work and then like the creative director gets the credit. And it's like, great. I'm so glad the creative director is so, happy with how I did my work.
Yeah,
And they're getting, oh yeah, yeah, you're the creative director. Yeah. Congratulations to you for hiring me to do the
yeah.
work for you to be happy about yourself.
I know a few um, graphic designers and different yeah, graphic designers, and even in a small city, Canada, it's like it's not even worth working for companies because they're like, yeah, you're replaceable quickly, and like you get paid the shittiest wages, and you're basically just like, yeah, a peon.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, if you have any creativity or anything, you
And then
just,
everyone thinks they could be a graphic designer because it's like, oh, I know how to use Canva.
yeah.
Congratulations. You can use Canva now.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
What do you think of my logo?
Your logo over there. It's very nice. It's good bunny hugs. I like it.
I made it.
Got some bunnies.
See, I could be a graphic
Mhm.
designer.
Oh yeah, everyone. And I love when people they'll show me like, oh yeah, look at this logo. My friend made this logo. It's really great. And I look at it and in my head I'm going, that's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. And I go, it's very nice. You just gotta like say things like that, even when they're disgusting.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Well, I used to be a musician, and people call me a music snob. And it's like, well, no,
I know many music snobs.
it's just I know what's good.
It What's funny about music snobs is like they have like what they like, and then everything else is bad. You
Right.
know,
I respect other genres that I don't normally listen to if it's good, but if it's
yeah,
bad, it's just bad. And
right.
it's true. It is all subjective, really.
It is all subjective. It's like you can't like anything else because it's bad, but this it's good. But it's like, but I don't like that. No, you're wrong. You're wrong. This is what's good, but I don't like it. No, it's good. You don't know what's good. Oh, sorry. Okay, fine. Sorry. Sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, that's me.
Right. Yeah. I didn't know what was good, but now you're playing what's good, even though I don't like it. But I guess that means I don't know what's good then. Okay, fine.
Even though it's obscure and it's like weird
Right.
screams and yeah.
Right.
Anyway. Um uh, oh, you know what? I love on your Instagram that you have security footage in your apartment and that you show people what schizophrenia really looks like. What what
Yes.
what made you want to be so vulnerable and open and want to do that?
Well, the original thing was that like I was explaining to my psychiatrist that I couldn't stop talking to myself. And he was like, well, what does it look like? What are you doing? So like I just took a video one time where I just had my computer open, like recording like that photo booth thing. And then like it like ended and I was like, I don't think I got anything. Let me just review the tape. And I reviewed it. I'm like, what am I doing? Oh my God. So I like put it on YouTube, but I set it to like private and I sent it to him. And he's like, you put it on YouTube though. I'm like, no, it's on private. Don't worry. But then one day I was like, I'm just going to make it public. So I just made it public and then like people watched it. And then I was like, okay, so I want to get more videos, but what can I do? So I just got like I went on Amazon and I got like a little security camera because people are always like, how do you have this pointed at you at the right time? And I'm like, it's a
Mm,
stupid security camera I got off Amazon for like $30. Like, relax yourself. And also, I'm constantly accused that it's fake. People are like, this
right.
is acting. Like, it's not acting. Why would I post it if it was acting? You know, why would I be faking it if I was acting? Because if I could
what
acting, I could
advantage?
act. I could make them so much better if I was acting. You know, I could do it so much better if I can make them look so much crazier if I was acting. Some of
Yeah.
them are not even me doing much,
Right.
you know, but if I was acting, I could make them absolutely berserk. But like recently, yesterday, I posted one on TikTok and I got a bunch of comments that I was like, this isn't schizophrenia. Girl, just go to bed. And was like, yeah, this is definitely acting. Why would I post it if I was acting? Why would I want to be called out as an actor?
Do you respond to those comments?
Sometimes I just block people, or I'm like, then why are you following me? Like, I don't understand. You're following me just to be mean. Like, I just block people sometimes.
Yeah. Social media is just mental.
It jumped from 4,000. Like yesterday, it had 4,000 views. I checked it today. It had 25,000 views and a whole bunch of people telling me to go to bed and then I was an actress. Like, why does it have views then?
Well, at least it's getting views.
I'm just saying, but like I'm saying like the bad things, but I'm just saying it bothers me so much when people are saying that they're fake. No, they're not fake. Because if they were fake, they wouldn't be so stupid. Like there's one of me eating ravioli, shoving my face with ravioli while I'm having an episode. Why would I ever share that? I look like a pig. I'm like, it looks like I realize this is a podcast, so nobody can see what I was just doing.
She was acting insane.
Basically, I'm shoving my face with ravioli while talking to myself at the same time. Why would a person share that video?
I mean, I'm
saying,
not diagnosed.
If it wasn't real, why would I share that? Because I look like a fool.
Well, what's the advantage of faking that? I don't get it.
I don't know. But I know there has been fake TikTokers. There was one I saw like this girl fake Tourette's. Like that's really messed up.
Huh? Okay.
But what's funny is like when I've been called fakers before, I had this old roommate. She was like, listen, like I live with you. I know you're schizophrenic. They could just call me because I confirm
it. Other than the fakes, have you ever had other like negative stigma thrown
just
upon you
life?
From people? Yeah. For being,
I mean, always diagnosed? Like a lot of times, like I tell people, I was like, yeah, I was a lifeguard for 6 summers. And they're like, you were? Really?
But you're schizophrenic.
You were a lifeguard for 6 summers?
Wait, what does that freak them out?
It's like they think in their heads, like, I just get that look like you watched kids in a pool or a lake. What? What? It's like, how did you do that? And I'm like, what? They don't say it, but you can see it in their eyes.
Yeah. You
were a lifeguard? Like, I can tell you that I never had any issues. No issues.
So,
no drownings. No one almost drowning. No one doing anything wrong. No one running on the dock. No one telling everyone to no, don't run around the pool. No problems. Because
you were on shift and they're like, she's schizophrenic. Yes. We have to be on our best behavior.
That was before I was diagnosed.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm a bit of a smart ass, by the way. You know, I was in the psych ward. I've been in the psych ward a couple times. And I met a guy, speaking of Tourette's, he was a 17-year-old kid who was schizophrenic with Tourette's. And he was an interesting dude. That's just the story of mine. Thank you. There's no question there. I had to convince him to take his meds. Actually, the nurse was like, here you go, Bobby, or whatever his name was. And he was like hyper paranoid. And but he liked me for some reason because I'm so charming. And I'm like, nah, don't worry about it, dude. She gave me some too. They were really good. And he was like, oh, okay. And then he took him and the nurse winked at me. So that's my schizophrenic Tourette's story.
I was in the psych ward and I left with 5 guys' numbers.
Not what?
Yeah.
Yeah. People hook up in there. A lot of
girls in the psych ward.
Yeah.
Where I was at least.
Yeah, there's a lot of people hooking up in there. There's a lot
of creepy men in the psych ward.
I I was in there for about 2 weeks. I did not give my number once. So there you go. So I'm not the creepy guy, but I got 3 dudes' numbers. I'm kidding. So when you take your meds regularly, can you still get these episodes? Like, it's not foolproof,
Yes.
the meds?
Yeah, the meds aren't foolproof. They help a lot. They do help a lot, but I still will just start talking to myself for no reason.
And you have no
Happens a lot.
recollection when that happens.
Not usually. No, I usually notice when it's over because I just go into a different world.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hence the security footage.
Yes.
Was that, well, it seems like you are fairly lucky, I guess, that you've had positive people in your life to allow you to be open. You know what I mean? Like you said, your friends were all like, yeah, we knew you were schizophrenic, and like no one jammed out on you, or you were, which made it you comfortable enough to actually post these videos and talk about it and be open. Whereas other people, it's very,
Well, I mean, it took a while. I mean, from diagnosis, I would say my mental health journey took me about 10 years to finally be comfortable,
accept
talking
it.
about it.
You're right. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense then. Do you talk to other like advocates of schizophrenia?
Yeah.
Have you met online or in person or?
Both.
Do you mind having a schizophrenic episode right now so we can see what it's like? Go.
It doesn't have
No, I can't do it on command.
Can't do it like
Huh. That makes me think maybe you're not faking. Good for you.
Yeah.
So what is your like, so you say you work for yourself, your brand is Schizophrenic NYC?
Yes.
And is that just graphic design, or is it also the advocacy and everything? It's all tied in together.
Yeah, it's all the advocacy tied in. Like Schizophrenic MIC is just I would say made by me, schizophrenic New Yorker, trying to change the way the New York City sees mental health, especially the mental homeless. It's all about getting the conversation started, because the more we talk about mental health, the less stigma there will be. I usually have a pop-up shop, or I sell online just at schizophrenic.nyc. It's like a bunch of different t-shirts. I sell like all kinds of pillboxes, totes, mugs. Looking around the room to see there's artwork, there's buttons, bracelets, stickers, magnets, all kinds of things that say like, don't be paranoid, you look great, or it's not a delusion, you are incredible, define normal, I'm mentally ill and I don't kill. And I talk to all kinds of people when I pop up on the street. I meet all kinds of amazing people, and it's just a lot of fun to do.
And you make a living doing that?
Yeah,
like that's
yes, I
your
do.
full jam?
Mm-hmm.
Did I use jam properly there?
Mm-hmm.
Good. How much is rent in New York?
A lot.
It's a secret?
It's a secret. Depends where you live. It really depends where you live.
Oh.
It could be anything.
Do you live in Manhattan, or whereabouts are you?
I live in Queens. Yeah, houses here are not that much. I was walking around, are much more. I was walking around Astoria. That's where I live in Queens. And there was like a sign for a house, but they're attached houses and they don't have much of a backyard. I just like, let me just call. And they said it was 1.3 million.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
And so you bought it. You paid cash.
Yeah, I bought it in cash, totally. But they said, they were like, well, the seller will negotiate. I was like, not to my price.
Some free shirts and a hat.
Yeah, really. They're not going to negotiate to what I want to buy it for, so it doesn't matter. I don't have anywhere near that kind of money.
The shirt I love of yours the most. Well, I don't know if I love it the most, but the one that maybe affected me the most maybe is the one that says, I'm mentally ill, I don't kill. Because being Canadian, you always hear about these mass shootings and stuff in the States, and then people are like, oh, it's not the guns, it's this person was mentally ill. Now that I
I
said that,
can't even with
respond.
that. They're so stupid. These people are so dumb. Like they think that to stop gun violence, we need more guns. Has that helped so far? Like, has it helped? No,
Well, there's not enough,
not at
apparently.
all. No.
No. Oh.
Like, why are people allowed to have like assault weapons or whatever? Like, why are people if the like you've heard like in Uvalde, Texas, the school shooting with the elementary school, the cops were too scared to go in because the shooter had an AR-15. So if the
Mhm.
cops are scared of the gun, why are people allowed to have that gun?
Well, maybe the cops need bigger guns.
Good point. Why didn't the cops have the bigger gun? Shouldn't the
uh,
cops have the
hmm.
gun that the shooter has or something?
Yeah,
So, like,
it's
stop blaming it on
complex.
the mentally ill. Why don't we not allow people to at least have an AR-15? I know they don't want, they won't give their guns away, but they won't take their guns away. But why don't we just take away the guns the cops are afraid of at least?
Hmm.
All right. We
Hmm.
won't, compromise because I know about like the Newtown shooting about those kids. They tried to get the magazines to be less, so like less bullets, and
Hmm.
they said it didn't get passed.
Hmm. So even setting a limit to how many people you could shoot without reloading.
Was not it didn't get passed.
Huh.
And that was the last time little kids got killed in there's a problem. It's gun violence. There's a way to fix the gun violence by making more gun laws. But instead, they're not doing that. Why? What,
Mucho dinero.
right? Like, like cigarettes are bad for you. So they taxed and taxed and taxed and taxed and taxed. So why are they not making it harder to buy guns?
Hmm.
Right?
Or like
Like,
Chris Rock says, make the bullets $10,000 each.
oh, it was $5,000.
Oh, okay.
But that is my favorite thing ever. That I love that stand up.
Yeah.
Like there'll be no like he says there'll be no like people like shot by accident if you make
Yeah.
a bullet $5,000. I
Yeah.
think that's brilliant. Make the bullets more expensive.
Yeah.
And, like there you go. There's a way to do it right there, and
Yeah.
they don't even do it.
No.
Right?
But I mean, not that
There's
I,
so many ways. There's so many things you can do to try to prevent gun violence, and they're not doing anything. And then you want to blame it on mental health, yet they're cutting budgets for mental health care.
right. Right.
The governor of Texas cut the mental health care budget by 50%.
Which I'm assuming wasn't that high anyway before the
Right. He cut it
cuts.
by 50%. And gun problems there are rampant. Uvalde, Texas, they're killing kids. But let's cut the mental health budget by 50% and blame the gun violence on mental illness. Don't you see how that makes no sense?
Yeah. Well, it's all about fear. It's about blaming someone else. You need someone lower. You need that. I think I don't want to get too political, so I'm going to
You know
stop
what they were
there.
saying? They were saying like have one exit for a school. Therefore, the one entrance and exit for a person, so a person can't just come in. Do they
Mm,
not know like what fire safety is?
yeah, right.
Right? Board up all the windows. This is a school.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
like, well, the back door was propped open. It's a school.
Maybe they should arm the teachers. Have they thought
Oh,
of that?
yeah, yeah. Now it's arm the teachers.
Yeah, I didn't mean to get
That's a
into a
great
whole.
idea. Next thing you know, a teacher's going to kill all the students or something. You're not doing your
Yeah,
homework?
yeah, all right. Well, the teacher was
Get down in
mentally
your seat, Johnny.
the teacher was mentally ill.
Right. Yeah. Now wouldn't that be funny? Like the teachers now are just killing the students. They're all armed Oh, we froze. Did we freeze?
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
yeah. Okay, we're back. And we're
okay.
back.
And we're back. Yeah,
Last
arm the
we were talking to
teachers.
Michelle, we were talking about teachers shooting children,
Like, I know so many teachers, a lot of people that went to college with their teachers. I can't even imagine them trying to use a gun.
right? Like that is
Like
like,
I have a friend who if she tried to get a gun, she wouldn't. I can't even imagine. Oh, I just the visual of her trying to figure out how to use a gun would just get her shot.
right. Yeah. I teach kindergarten. I don't want to use an automatic weapon.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Can
It's
you
just like
imagine at
dumb. It's so
the
dumb.
firing range? It's like a bunch of police officers and teachers training and former military. Yeah, bizarro. I didn't mean to get into a whole gun
I know,
issue
I
debate,
know, I know.
but I
But
did
it's
want to
just
get
so,
into your shirt.
and it
I'm mentally ill. I don't
the
kill.
right because
Yeah.
they're all there's it's a mental health issue. Well, stop cutting the budgets then,
Yeah. Yeah. So fucking fix the mental health issue then.
right?
Yeah.
How
Quit.
about housing for people with mental illness? They'll bring them to the hospital, but no one's paying the bill for them, so they just let them go onto the street.
Yeah. And how many of these shooters are like, have actually been like mentally ill?
I don't even understand. And now the Parkland shooter who shot everybody when he was in high school, he's
Mhm.
up for the death penalty. He made a speech and he was like, I can't even watch TV anymore. Either can the 17 people you killed. And then I
Mm.
was watching something on YouTube where there's like a video of somebody faking like a psychosis and faking schizophrenia, and it's him um just in the interrogation and how he's trying
Yes.
to fake being psychotic.
Right. I've seen some of these before.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't even do it right. Do your homework if you're going to fake.
Yes.
Watch your
Don't watch
videos.
my videos are real, but if you want to learn,
Yeah.
you want to learn, just keep watching my videos and then you can figure out how to fake it because that's the real one.
Yeah.
But maybe if you act like me too much, people will accuse you of faking because I guess mine just looks so fake apparently.
Yeah. You're not,
Mine are too crazy to be real. I don't know.
not crazy enough, maybe.
Not crazy enough. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, um, has anyone ever hinted or made comments about you being violent or possibility of being a violent person?
People have like asked questions like, are your episodes ever violent? Do you ever get violent? And I'm like, no, I don't get violent. I don't get violent. No. Like years and years and years ago, if I was mad at somebody, I'd be like, oh, but like so many people are like the same thing. So many do this, so many. I know people with no diagnosis that are like way crazier than I ever was. And like they'll get into fights. But I don't fight people,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I know
I
drunk
may,
people that,
egg on people and annoy them and try to like piss them off. Like in a lacrosse game, a girl tried to fight me. I didn't fight her. I was just
right.
laughing at her.
Right. Yeah. I know a lot of dudes that get drunk and fight every time they get drunk.
Right. Yeah. I've never been in like a legit fist fight with somebody, because of like schizophrenia. Like that never caused any like
You're
fist
just trying,
fights.
you're just trying to teach Hebrew. I just remembered your post.
Bad post. Yeah. This dumb bitch, she doesn't stop. She doesn't stop asking me. She's
Okay.
so annoying.
So a little backstory here.
Yeah.
Michelle posted that. Was it your last video that you posted that
It was like, yeah, my post was yesterday.
that you you're like in an argument talking to yourself in an argument, but it's usually because you're trying to teach someone that used to go to high school with Hebrew and they're not picking up on it or something.
It's this girl that I used to work with who was
Oh.
so mean. I can't stand her. And she's constantly asking me what different words mean in Hebrew. And so many times I'm saying to her, I don't know. Why don't you just Google it? And she's like, oh, okay. Did you? And she'll be like, so how do you say honey in Hebrew? And I'm like, I don't know. Devesh, Google it. And she'll just be like, bubby or bubby, bubby or bubby. And I'll be like, bubby is a darling. Bubby is a grandmother. And she'll keep asking me it over and over again, saying, it's the same word. I'm like, no, it's not the same word. One is a booby, one is a bubby. And she goes, that's the same word. I'm like, no, it's not the same word. Think of the word boogie, think of the word buggy, then to replace both those G's with B's. And she can't understand it. And I explain it to her over and over and over again. I can't stand this girl. She's so annoying. She won't go the fuck away.
And this is
It's
reoccurring.
It's every day. Every day she doesn't go away. I can't stand her. She's so annoying.
Well, why her? Just because you disliked her so much?
Because I hate her. Because I
Right.
hate her. Because I
Right.
just hate her
Yeah.
so much.
So you're like obsessed about her in a way.
I obsess that how much I hate her.
I obsess about people I hate too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I should obsess about people I love, but for whatever reason I don't. It's like, yeah, I have a former coworker that's still stuck in my head. It's like when I'm doing something, it's like I still hear the criticism. It's like, why do I go there? I don't have psychosis or anything, but I mean, that voice, and I imagine him going, "You're doing that wrong." It's like, why the fuck do I do that? So it's interesting that that's what your psychosis goes to.
I know. And then sometimes I think that, like, is she following my social media and knowing that I'm talking to her all the goddamn time? Because that would make her so happy.
And that's the paranoia.
Yes.
Yes.
I hate her.
Let's get her. Non-violently. Let's get her.
I hate her.
What's her name?
Fall off the edge of a cliff. I'm not telling you her name.
I know.
She's
not Text
worth
it to me.
She's not worth a name. She's not worth any name.
Was this as an adult you worked with her, or as a lifeguard as a kid?
As an adult.
Mm-hmm. Adults are the worst. So you vape? That's my next question. Like, so you vape?
I try not to. This thing is like dead.
Did you design your hat?
I went to Philly and I bought this, but it's like just dead now. I don't even know this brand. I never had this brand before. I went to Philly and the homeless people there are much different.
Oh?
They were just different. They were
better.
They didn't just like sit on the side, beg for money. They were more walking around. They walked around a lot more than the homeless people in New York City. New York City homeless people kind of find a spot to sit in. These ones were just more walking around. It's different type of deal. And Philly's so much cleaner than New York City.
Have you met homeless people that you were like, oh, this dude has schizophrenia?
Oh, all the time. But it also could be a drug binge, going off drugs. They kind of got that happens a lot.
Right.
But yeah.
I guess
5 or 10 guy. I always know this guy. He's 5 or 10 guy because he always goes, "Do you have a 5 or 10? Do you have a 5 or 10?" But I know him that he's not homeless. He lives in a residence. But I know that he's a crackhead because I know the guy that lives across the hall from him in a residence, and he says that guy just smokes crack all day.
But there is, I guess, drug induced.
Yeah, he is out of touch with everything. This dude,
right?
5 or 10 guy. I don't know what his real name is.
I know of people who have drug-induced schizophrenia with even marijuana.
Yeah, that can totally happen.
Do you need some schizophrenia? Is it like the schizophrenia is like, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's in their DNA already, and then the drug use brings it out in them, or is it fully just because of the drugs? Do you know?
I'm not entirely sure. I would think probably it's like maybe dormant inside you, and
dormant. That was the word.
Up, But I think that the weed it can do when it just makes you really, really, really paranoid, like really paranoid. And I think that's what brings it out. But then they just keep smoking weed and it gets them more and more paranoid, or then they maybe try harder drugs and stuff like that, and it gets them more and more paranoid.
And next thing you know, they're homeless.
Psychosis type deal.
Yeah.
And just spirals into just not good.
How are do you have a good relationship with your parents?
Yeah, it's good.
And they're supportive of your business and everything you're doing? Your hat, did you design that?
I did design this hat. Yes.
Okay, because you have a lot of very colorful clothing. I notice on Instagram is where I follow you, but
Yes.
I should follow
Yes.
you. Actually, what is your handle on TikTok? I want to follow
It's
you on
actually
there.
the same. It's
Oh,
schizophrenic.nyc.
oh, okay.
Yes, it is.
Hmm.
Yes, it is.
Hmm.
TikTok.
What kind of feedback? So we talked about some of the negative feedback and people faking and stuff. Have you heard some really positive feedback? People
Oh,
calling you a
yes.
hero and that kind of stuff?
Yes, I get tons of positive feedback. People be like, thank you so much for your videos. They really help me understand my, son, daughter, father, sister, or
Hmm.
whatever, like thank you so much. They're really helping. I get amazing feedback and it's really makes me feel good.
Yeah.
So like that always, brings me up and stuff like that.
Yeah, that
So
stuff
like
is,
that's great. And it helps me, it helps people like,
yeah, that's what
yeah.
keeps you going a little bit.
Yeah. And then like, they're like, thank you for being so open. Yeah. Just talking about it. Because if nobody's open about it and if nobody knows like what people really go through, they're just gonna make assumptions. And if you just listen to what doctors say, doctors just kind of get what they get with from their patients, but
Hmm.
you don't really know what's going on in the patient's actual. You have to hear from the person all the
Hmm.
time. If you just hear from the doctor, you don't always know what's really going on because you don't know what the patient is really always saying to their doctor, you
Hmm.
know.
And then plus the
Get
media
it
in
from
Hollywood.
the source. That's what I think is from the what's it called? From the from the primary source research, whatever it is. Get it
Mm-hmm.
from primary source, not from other people just talking about it. I get so many messages about like people's like how do they deal with like their family member that's like paranoid and not listening to them and not taking their meds, not doing this, not doing that. And like that's the hardest question to answer because a lot of people that are diagnosed and they don't want to take their meds, they're blaming them, they're paranoid, they're doing all this, they're thinking everyone's out to get them. And I
Mm-hmm.
hate to say, like, it's not gonna be easy. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know how to answer that question. Like, they have to you just somehow get them to take their meds and it's they're not going to always be the same person they were before you know and
Mm-hmm.
maybe if they don't like their meds maybe they need to switch meds. Not everybody's going to like the first meds they're going to be put on, and if they're saying they hate their meds, maybe they hate their meds because it's the wrong meds. Also,
Mm.
it might be easier to be med compliant. Sometimes they have the shot that you just get a shot and they feel better because it's hard to be med compliant, especially when you're first diagnosed.
Have you done that before? Like, were you non-compliant with taking meds and stuff, or have you been pretty? Um,
I mean, when I was younger, I was non-compliant with taking meds. I didn't want them. I didn't think I needed them. But then I realized that my life was better when I took them.
hmm. And how did your parents get you to take them?
It wasn't my parents, it was my
Oh,
lacrosse coach.
oh, ah, aha. Because you liked playing, but you couldn't play or practice unless you took them. And she,
Mm-hmm.
do you have a podcast as well? Because you
I
have a
have a
really nice mic.
podcast. Yeah, I have a podcast. I'm a bipolar, a schizophrenic, and a podcast that I do with Gabe Howard. We kind of just do little short seasons of it, and we're bringing it back in 2023.
Oh, okay.
So you can still find the episodes up, but we're not currently recording right now.
And it's called
But
a,
it's pretty
a,
sick.
a bipolar and a schizophrenic. That's what it's called.
A, a bipolar, a schizophrenic, and a podcast. That's what it's called.
Gotcha. Well, actually, you mentioned that you were diagnosed with bipolar first. Is that a very common thing for people with schizophrenia to be diagnosed bipolar?
I think so. I feel like almost every college student that goes to the health center is almost always diagnosed bipolar. That's what I think. I feel like bipolar is like the gateway diagnosis of sorts.
Gateway
It's like what
diagnosis.
what
I like it.
college student is not somehow bipolar? I love going out with my friends. We have fun, but sometimes when I get drunk, I cry. Like, okay, sounds bipolar to me. You mean studying is giving you a really rough time and you're overwhelmed by studying and it makes you upset and you're not doing all well in your grades and you feel sad, but you're happy sometimes with your friends. You have a good time with your friends, but your grades are making you sad. Oh, okay. Oh, you're bipolar.
Here's meds. Yeah.
Yeah. Like everyone's bipolar in college. They'll diagnose everyone bipolar in college. Everyone. That's what I think. I think that.
Mm-hmm.
Who isn't bipolar in college? In my opinion.
Right.
They'll diagnose everyone bipolar in college. So I'm Michelle Hammer. You can find my website to buy my stuff at schizophrenic.nyc. My Instagram is schizophrenic.nyc. My TikTok is schizophrenic.nyc. But my Twitter is schizophrenic.ny because it was too long to fit. And that's where you can find me.
Be sure to subscribe and to like this video. You can listen on Apple Podcast and Spotify. This is Todd Rennebaum saying, make your beds and take your meds. Keep watching for more interviews with incredible people telling their stories of resilience and adversity with mental health and mental illness.